Now, there was an article that was recently released. This probably would have been a week ago, tops, week, 2 weeks, right before free agency started. Because we've been sitting on this article for a little while from ESPN.
Right. And then TB signed with the Bucks.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened.
That's what it was, yeah. Because we were like, oh, we're going to come here, we're going to talk this. Oh, Brady signed. Oh, we're making moves. Oh, we made more moves.
Yeah.
And everything's got distracted, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, so now that we have a chance to come back and really hit this article, ESPN had wrote an article where they were talking about the best and worst free agent signings for each team since 2015. So it's important that we put 2015. That's the emphasis, because anything before that does not count. We're not allowed to bring that in. So that's why when we talk about best free agent signings, I know some people will be like, Arthur Moats is the best free agent signing of all time. I understand that. Listen, I'm not one of those guys because I would never be biased like that, okay? But I'm not on this list because I was a 2014 signing, even though I did see a technicality where technically I re-signed in 15.
I know, I saw that too.
So I could honorable mention myself, but we're not going to do that. So the ESPN article, the two players that they highlighted, they said for the best signing for the Steelers since 2015, they highlighted Joe Hayden. Mm-hmm. And even with that, there was still a little bit of communication, or I guess conversation, about whether Joe Hayden was a traditional free agent signing, because he didn't sign during the free agency period. He got released right before the season started, and they were able to work out a deal with him. But that's the player that they named. And then for the worst signing, they said Ladarius Green, tight end that came over from it was the San Diego Chargers then. Yeah, man. So without further ado, I guess we should start with the worst signings first. I would much rather do that. And when we said,
you want to go 3-1?
Yeah, so I was going to say, so what we're going to do is this. We're going to talk about our top 3 best signings, top 3 worst signings. And we'll go, like you said, 3-1. So we'll start at our third worst, second worst, and then our absolute worst.
Do you want to just name the 3?
And then we break it down?
Yeah, because we'll probably have some crossover.
Yeah. So you want to go first, or you want me to go first? Because we're just naming them right now.
Yeah, we're just naming them. That's kind of what I mean. Okay.
So for me, my third was Morgan Burnett.
Okay.
My second was Dante Moncrief, and then my first was Ladarius Green.
Ooh.
All right, so let me hear yours. Yeah, man, let's hear yours.
Come on, dude.
We're gonna get into it because I feel like we're gonna differ a lot on some of these.
Moncrief is 1.
As in, like the
number 1.
Number 1.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm going opposite.
Oh, but you said go 3-1. How you gonna say go 3-1 and then go 1-3?
I think it's because you got me heated with your list.
All right, let's go, man.
Even though, I mean, we got the same guys.
All right, let's go,
just
man.
The order.
Let's go.
Moncrief 1, 2 is Burnett.
Wow.
And here's my issue.
Oh, come on, man. You just name your 3 first before we get to your issue, all right?
I guess we'll have to talk about it.
So who are your 3?
Listen, dude.
So hold on, who are your 3? I'm confused.
Ladarius Green, I guess, is 3, just because I couldn't find another guy. But
okay.
LeGarrette Blount was 2014.
So he doesn't count. You can't throw him in there.
All right, dude. Then
you can't. So why even bring him up? You can't put anybody from 14 in there, man. Because if that's the case, I could have been like, oh, what about Cam Thomas? Or some people even said Lance Moore. But it's like, man, we're not talking 14 class. We're talking 15 because that's what the article said. So, and I'm surprised by you because when we had this conversation off the mic, when this article first came out, there was a different name that you named.
Mark Barron.
Yeah.
Actually, man, dude, I might need. It's tough because. Well, what was Barron's contract?
Nah, come on, man. We're going to get into that. I got all that down. We're going to get into that. But I just want to hear. So who are your 3? Your 3 are.
Let me put it this way.
You said, you said Dante Moncrief first, Morgan Burnett is second, and then are you going Ladarius as your third? Who's your third, man?
I more or less wanted to talk about the Ladarius Green stuff.
So hold on. Who's your third, though?
Well, no. Here's my thing. Because initially I did say Mark Barron. You talked me off the ledge with that. Uh-huh. Because you were like, listen,
I shouldn't have had that conversation. I should have just let you say it, man.
No. Because, you said, listen, he came in, he started, I think it was all 16 games.
Yeah. Well, 15. Played 15.
Yeah, he had a bunch of tackles. He did a role that we needed for him to perform. Whereas Ladarius Green only played, I think it was literally 6 games.
6 games, yeah, man.
But in those 6 games,
34 catches, 304 yards, 1 touchdown.
I mean, there was 2 games where you're just like, all right, this could have been really something. the Colts game and the Giants game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how many snaps he had in the other 4 games, but so it's tough. So all right, do we want to start with Ladarius Green? That you have him number 1.
I have him as my worst, and that's my guy. Like, he was a good dude.
Yeah,
but we're not talking about personal. We're talking about just like the football element.
All right, for both instances though, you have Mark Barron and Ladarius Green who are cut after 1 year.
Hold on. So what are we debating right now? Because for me, I have Ladarius as my number 1.
I'm not debating.
Moncrief as my number 2. And Morgan Burnett as my 3.
I'm trying to talk through this and understand why you would think Ladarius Green.
Why he's my 1?
Yeah, we could just say 1 or even worse than Mark Barron.
Yeah. I don't even have Mark Barron on my worst list.
No, I know that, but I have considered it. We'll put it that way.
Okay, so we'll break it down. So the reason I have Ladarius
and here's the thing too. I'm sure a lot of other people would think Mark Barron because that was my knee-jerk reaction as well.
So I guess this is why. So when we first look at their contracts, Mark Barron signed 2 for $12 for $5.75 million. Ladarius Green 4 for $20 and ended up getting 6 fully guaranteed that first year. It would have been 11 if they would have kept him on the roster going into.
He only got 6 guaranteed.
No. It was a 4.75 signing bonus, but he ended up getting 6 because he played that first season. He was supposed to get 11 if he would have been on the roster. I think it was in March that following year. So it would have been a total of like 17 million if he would have been on the roster, but they released him right before then. But then also, I don't know the details of afterwards, but
like how many did he get, or how much did he hit our dead cap?
So this is my thing, because I do know that he was trying to do some of the legal stuff because he was still technically hurt when we released him. So he was still trying to do some of the legal stuff to get some more of the guaranteed money out of that. I don't know how all that worked out, but just based on the numbers, him getting $6 million and having played 6 games with 34 catches, 300 yards, and 1 touchdown. For me, man, that's a bad deal. I don't care how you slice it, dead money or not. That's a bad deal. The productivity did not match that contract. Whereas when I look at Mark Barron signing a 2 for $12 and he ended up getting he got 5.75 out of that.
Mm-hmm.
The man played in 15 games, 1 pick, 3 PBUs, 82 tackles, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble. And he was the starter opposite of Devin Bush. He took a huge workload off of Devin and honestly saved Devin early on. We talked about how at times we were like, man, Devin kind of struggling in coverage right now. We all did. And we would come here and say, hey, man, it's going to take Devin some time. He's young. He's got to adjust. He's learning. Right now, we're seeing how he's late on his reads. We broke down a couple of the films where you can see just the simple passes of a number 2 and number 3 receiver or a tight end and a running back and how he's late. The Seahawks game, how he was late because you could see his eyes. He's not trusting it just yet. Whereas Mark was playing faster. But on the flip side is, they put Mark in a lot more of those tougher situations.
I was going to say people would probably rebuttal that and say Barron was struggling in coverage too.
But Mark drew the tougher assignments. And let's be real about it. Devin is the better athlete, but Devin wasn't ready to have those coverage assignments, which is why Mark was playing more than Devin at a time. But when you look at that for the amount of money they were paying Mark, man, at least he was out there playing, available, starting, being productive, regardless of if it was up to our standard or not. And of course, it's easy to point when you're in coverage and say, well, man, his guy's making the catch. He sucks. It's like, dude, I don't want to hear that because when you're in coverage, man, a lot of times, especially the matchups that he was drawing, he was going to be at a disadvantage. But at the end of the day, it's, hey, man, tackle the catch, get off the field. And let's be real, our defense was elite. So it wasn't as if he was your worst player, wasn't as if this defense was struggling in any regard in that term, in terms of that. Because if that was your worst player on the defense, your absolute worst player, he still was crazy productive. And as I looked at it, whereas when we look at Ladarius, 34 catches, 300 yards, 1 touchdown, that's not enough. And I understand we could talk about 2 games, but what about the other 4 games? And then you talk about the 10 games that he didn't even play in.
That's what I'm saying. I don't remember us utilizing him that much in those other 4.
So how
I don't know whose fault that is or what. But
so all I'm saying is, for the money that he signed for, the money that he ended up walking away with, and the money that he was in line to get, like for me, that's a bad deal.
I don't know. It's tough. Are we gonna hold the injuries like that against him, though?
It's a part of playing. Is it not a part of playing?
I mean, it is.
Is it not a part of playing?
But in terms of the idea and what he was there to do, and then when he was on the field.
So then my question is this. Why don't you use that same excuse for Moncrief, who was highly documented that he dislocated and broke fingers in training camp?
Because when he was on the field, he didn't perform.
Bro, because he had drops. His stats, he had Dante Moncrief, 7 games, 4 catches, 5 drops. Remember, everybody talked about how he was open the Patriots game, but dropped everything. Oh, Moncrief sucks. And we're like, dude, he has broke fingers playing wide receiver. Same conversation with Sammy Coates. Remember that?
No, right.
When he was healthy, he was catching, scoring touchdowns. Fingers got broke. It's hard to catch in the NFL with broke fingers. So we can't poo-poo Dante Moncrief for having drops and not being productive when his fingers were broke. But then in the same vein with Ladarius Green, now we want to say, well, it's not his fault that he was dealing with concussions and injuries.
Well,
we can't hold that against him.
He wasn't on the field, though. He wasn't.
Either way, he was hurt.
Giving us a negative impact.
If he's not on the field, but he's getting the contract he's getting, that is a negative impact because that money could have went elsewhere.
Yeah, but then if you throw him in there and he's getting drops on top of that, that's even worse.
If he was out there and he was running the wrong route because he couldn't remember because of concussion, that's just as bad.
Yeah, I mean,
so what are we saying
how are we able to document that or know what's going on there?
So just because you can't document it doesn't mean it doesn't have the same weight.
I mean, are we saying that's a common thing or that's happening?
All I'm saying is if the guy played in 6 games and he only had 34 catches, 300 yards, I don't want to hear any excuse. It's a production league. He wasn't productive. And the money he was getting paid.
Dude, but for a tight end, 300 yards in 6 games, that's pretty solid.
Stop it.
How is it not?
Stop it,
Wouldn't
man.
you say a 600 to 700 yard year for a tight end is solid?
Okay, solid. I'm not paying 4 for 20 for solid, though. I'm paying 4 for 20 for the George Kittle type season, the Zach Ertz type seasons, the
that's
900.
Only $5 million, dude.
Bro.
We just paid Eric Ebron $6 million.
Listen. He got 6. Ebron had 13 touchdowns a year ago. What are we talking about?
He never had over like 700 yards.
Bro, he still had a 13 touchdown season 1 season ago.
Yeah, I know. I'm just talking about yards.
Bro, all I'm saying is he had 1 touchdown. 1.
All right.
You just said with Ebron, you said we're paying Ebron this, but Ebron has 13 touchdowns in 1 season. Dude, if you're not going to have the yards, at least give me the touchdowns. You're either getting touchdowns or you're getting yards. Which one are you getting?
Dude, that's a productive. Which one are you getting? If you span that out over the course of the season, that is a solid year.
But how are we spanning it out when he wasn't available? He got $6 million for 6 games.
But that's my point. When he was on the field, he was productive. So that's
so in 6 games, he was crazy productive, huh?
That was good. That's solid production.
6 games. That was crazy productive.
Dude,
6 games.
Hold on, 6 games. So what is that? Times 2 plus I don't know. That would probably be between 700 or 800 yards over the course of a season. That's production.
That sounds like a myth. That sounds like I'm guessing, I'm hoping, I'm wishing.
No way.
That's not what I'm seeing right here.
No, dude, it's just a multiplier. If you times that over the course on what he was on pace for.
So every game he was doing that, every game he was productive like that.
Dude, versus
you can't just say 2 games, bro.
I'm not saying 2 games. Bro. We can say over 6 games.
Bro,
he had
all 300 yards
over 6 games.
Moncrief got $3.5 million. Ladarius got $6 million.
So I don't care. I would take that that $1 million difference with the production both of them gave.
I'm cool on both of them, man.
Bro.
All I'm saying is if I'm giving
Moncrief did nothing.
Bro, Moncrief was hurt.
Yeah, but
at least he was on the field.
And making drops. Like that's my point.
His fingers were broke. What do you expect?
Bro,
so you rather he just sat out there?
Yeah, he was negating us on the field.
Oh my goodness.
He had a negative impact when he was on the field.
And what did Ladarius have then?
A positive impact, 300 yards in 6 games.
That's super productive, man.
Dude, come on.
Super productive. 1 touchdown. All right, dude, you win it, bro. 4 for 20, man. Anybody that gets 300 yards, 1 touchdown as a tight end, play 6 games. I'm gonna give you a 4 for 20. That makes perfect sense.
Listen, so that's $5 million. If Ebron has $6 million in his contract per year.
Okay,
dude. If he gets 700 or 800 yards, I don't care about the touchdowns.
I care about the touchdowns. Touchdowns win games. Yards aren't.
Yeah, but either way, I'm not worried about I'm not worried about touchdowns. If you times that, like I said, over 2, so that could have been 3 or 4 touchdowns for Green. 700-800 yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns.
We don't know that though, because that's not what happened.
That is a good season, but that's,
is that what happened?
But that's what the production tells you. It
does not tell you that. It's a small sample size. Who knows what we was going to do the rest of the time? Who knows? It
would have even been better,
or would have been worse.
It would have been better,
or could have been worse.
If we're just speaking for the production in that 6-game span, that's solid.
All I'm saying is it's not solid enough for the money that he was making.
Bro, that's only, what would we say, a $2 million, $1.5 million difference versus Moncrief?
All I'm saying is it wasn't.
And Moncrief, how many yards did he have? He had 10 yards?
Bro, Moncrief signed a 2 for $9 million deal. That's chump change. Ladarius was going to make $11 million if he would have been on the roster an extra month.
That's why we cut him, though.
Either way,
so if we're talking about the money that they got in the dead cap.
That's not a good deal, man.
Come on,
It's not.
No.
It's not.
I'm definitely, I don't want to have Green on this list.
all I'm saying is this: if you're the GM, and you're giving off 4 for 20s, and that's the production you're getting, you're probably gonna have a terrible roster. That's all I'm saying, bro.
Dude, if you're putting out, what you say? He played
Moncrief 6 games.
What'd you say Moncrief was?
Moncrief was 2 for 9. He only got 3.5.
If you're giving out 3.5 for the production Moncrief gave, you're not sticking around if you're a GM either.
He got 3.5. That's worse. What?
That's what, dude? 3.5 million for what? 20 yards, 30 yards? I don't even know. And how many drops?
4 for 20.
5 million. If we're just breaking it down, then 5 million for 300 yards in 6 games.
Don't say 5 million. He got 6 million. He was going to get 11 the next season.
All right, we'll say 6
So don't try to make it like, oh, it was only a 5-year average. It wasn't. He got 6 the first year. He was going to get 11 the second year.
That's a $2.5 million difference. And those 2 games that I am talking about, he definitely helped us win those games.
Okay, and I agree with that. But what about the other ones that he played in?
Dude, Moncrief didn't help us win any of these games.
What about the other games that Ladarius played in?
Huh?
What about the other games Ladarius played?
I'm not sure. We talked about that. I don't even care about that because you could span that over the 6 games.
Bro, stop.
Span that production.
So how do we know the 2 games weren't outliers?
Huh?
The 2 that you're talking about.
It's eye test, dude. He was beast, man. He was really good out there.
I agree. Ladarius could ball.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is for the money he got, he did not produce. That's it.
Well, that's fine. But I'm
and for me, when I look at who got more money, then he's the worst. He's the worst earner. Is that something for me?
Dude, he helped us win 2 games.
Congratulations.
Moncrief didn't help us win anything.
Well, you know who was throwing the ball too.
And that's what I'm saying, dude.
Broke fingers, bad passes. There's a lot going on with that man.
I'm giving you the whole eye test thing too. But just aside from the eye test, 6 games, 300 yards, and a touchdown. That production is better than the other 2 players.
4 for 20 and I would is a lot worse than 2 for 9.
I would take that million difference for that production.
I would rather have a 2 for 9 mess up than a 4 for 20 mess up. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know how much of it's a mess up though when he did help us win in those.
All I'm saying
games,
is if they're both playing the same amount of games, I would rather have a 2 for 9 mess up than a 4 for 20 mess up. That's all I'm saying. You can cut it how you want to cut it. You can make it however you want to flip it and all that. If I'm going to mess up, right? If I'm going to, hey man, this deal didn't work out, that didn't work out. I'd much rather my didn't work out be a 2 for 9 than a 4 for 20. That's it, bro.
It's hard for me to say mess up like that with Green. It's just hard. It's just hard.
The money's there, man.
But dude, when you're comparing them to Burnett and Moncrief, I don't even think it's close. I think those 2 are over Green for sure, though.
See, the reason why I'm not going to put Burnett in there, Burnett played 11 games, and a lot of the reason why
Wait, you didn't have Burnett? Who'd you have?
I have Burnett as my 3rd worst.
Yeah.
I said the reason I'm not going to put him over Green or Moncrief, though, is because Burnett played in 11 games. He played the most out of all of them, had 30 tackles, was a starter, and decided that he didn't want to go back out there because he was tired of playing linebacker. He said, I'm a safety and you're putting me at linebacker. And remember, that's why he was like, yo, give me your release. I don't want to do this. Because for safeties, it's different, man. You playing safety, you don't have to deal with the big offensive lineman every play. It's a lot smoother. But for him, because of the sub package ball, because at the time they didn't have a Devin Bush on the team. Remember, that was when it was oh my goodness, what's the Bostic? They had John Bostic and Vince Williams and LJ Ford. But at the time, LJ hadn't even emerged as like a cover linebacker just yet. So they were using Morgan a lot in the box. He said, I'm not happy doing this. I don't want to do this. Don't put me out there. And that's what that was. But even with that, I said at 3 for 14, I was like, that price is getting a little high, right? But when he was out there, he could play. He could produce. For him, he just said, I'm not playing in that box. That's not what I do. I don't get paid to do that.